Okay, a few people asked me to go through doing image transfer on glass or mirror. In this case, I've had this one working for a couple of days. First, I put like 3 coats of chalk paint on right in the glass itself and also on the frame to help it blend. So I put the chalk paint on nice and heavy. Usually I use some real inexpensive chalk paint that I can pick up at the hardware store for my base coat, and then I use a lot of Dixie Belle chalk paints. I like their stuff. It dries really fast, and it works really well for me. And so I put the base coat down, and this is like a beige color that I put down just before I Mod Podge the paper with the image down. And when I did that, I laid the image down, put the Mod Podge on the paper and on the chalk paint on the mirror, laid it down, and then squeegeed out all the air pockets, and then on the edges I lifted the very edge just a little bit so it would help, so there's not as much of a sharp line there. You're still going to get some kind of a line, but it'll be easier for me to go back and touch it up with a little bit of chalk paint to distress it a little bit later on. And then I use these little dauber sponges in this case, or in a natural sponge and a mister to release the paper. And as you can see, I've got like a hanger from the original mirror on the back, so I wanted to keep this as the upper part of the picture. When you first Mod Podge it, it's kind of hard to tell which is up and which is down, so I usually put an arrow on there just to keep myself straight on that. So let's just mist it down, and you can see the image starting to appear. I don't want to get too crazy with the water. Start lifting it. I'll start right in the middle, work my way out. Now, I usually do a quick peel in this case, just because if you get too aggressive with it, you'll start digging into that other chalk paint that you've got for a base coat, and then before you know it, you're cutting into the image, and then it's ruined. But just start working it like that. Most cases I would get to about here, and then I would stop, let it dry a little bit, sweep off some of the excess paper. See, it's broken through to the glass right there, to the mirror right there already, just from messing around with it when I put the paper down in the image. Just keep working it. Sponge usually works pretty good. So you can see the background of the base coat of the chalk paint coming through. You just gotta be really careful not to burn through that image down into the glass right away. Later on it's okay, but you want to save as much of that original image as you can. And just like the normal image transfer, it's going to get cloudy. You're going to have to come back anyways, but I'd rather come back 5, 6, 7 times on this project to make sure it works out well than to damage it and have to start all over again. I've done the same process on a screen window. Took an old screen window, and on the back of the screen I laid some paper, and actually I put a box. It was about the size of the opening of the screen. I laid it down with paper behind it, so the screen was actually touching paper, and I just loaded it up with chalk paint. Probably put 10 or 12 layers on it until you couldn't even barely see the screen material, and then I put an image on it. It was pretty cool. I got almost $100 for it at the craft mall. Let's see if I can find some pictures of that and show you that sometime in the future. See how the image is coming through? This is working out really nice. Really nice. Now later on when you distress it, you can scratch the sides so that you can see part of the mirror peeking through. It'll just add to the look. A little more water. Be so careful not to damage the image. Looks like most of the paper's lifted a little bit more by the tail. Let's see it curling up. Now, I did this, I put the image on probably about 3 days ago, so it's set really well. In a day or so, I'll be able to come back and hit this area with more of this beige color chalk paint. Just kind of use a dry brush technique to blend it back in, just to give it a finished look, and then dry brush the frame. Maybe maybe that teal color or something. Depending on how it looks like I got some paint on the top of the paper. There we go. There's the paper. Looks like it's almost all gone. And I'll use these little picks to get the paper out of the crevices, out of the little cracks where it's built up. So, you know, that's burning through the image. Almost to the point where I don't want to mess around with it anymore, because I'm going to burn through the image. I don't want to do that. So that's the first peeling. Looks really nice, real nice. I'm real pleased with that. Like I said, the next couple peels, and then I'll come back with this beige color that I used as a base coat, and I'll dry brush it on the edges, and then or maybe distress it. Maybe I'll scratch off this area right down to the mirror, and see how that looks. You can do a lot with it, but that's a piece done on mirror. So if I can do it, anybody can do it. Give it a try.